Hi everyone! Today's video is about 5 things you stop doing when you're finally ready to change your life. Regardless of whether you've invested a huge load of energy in your life settling on some unacceptable decisions and neglecting to satisfy your latent capacity, there can come a day when you just at last choose to change. What's distinctive about that second or those arrangements of minutes that lead to a significant turnaround? It's hard to pinpoint. Normally, you put your foot down when the torment of remaining similar damages more than the expected agony of attempting to change. I'm in support of motivation and positive messages, however a large portion of the occasions I've set some hard boundaries happened when I was completely tired of my circumstances. At the point when I was living in a shabby loft with a 3-figure total assets, working a task I loathed, I said, enough. At the point when I glanced in the mirror totally naked in the wake of eating a few dozen treats on Christmas Day a couple of years back, acknowledging I was 40 pounds overweight, I said, enough. Furthermore, essentially every second in my life where I concluded it was the ideal opportunity for a change, I understood I needed to quit doing certain things to get where I needed to go. The cycle included disposing of unfortunate propensities, accepts, and practices, more so than adding positives. Changing your personality ordinarily implies relinquishing what your identity was so you can become another person. This has been my personal development reasoning for quite a long time. Get tired, not roused. Quit doing idiotic stuff. Quit attempting to be keen. Add to your life through expulsion. When you cut out a ton of the destructive components of your life, you're left with a superior life. There's a not insignificant rundown of things you can quit doing to show you're at last prepared to completely change you, yet here are a portion of my top choices. You stop living in Potentialville. Potentialville is the fanciful space in your psyche where you fantasize about the individual you could be. It feels so genuine to you since you do have the stuff to accomplish your objectives. We as a whole do. You can envision yourself improving later on the grounds that you know you're equipped for it. However, ability amounts to nothing. Ultimately, you must gander at your life genuinely. What's more, in case you're being straightforward with yourself, your possible begins to blur after some time. Not saying that change is unimaginable at specific times of your life, however it simply gets more troublesome. You can reveal to yourself that you'll begin that business ultimately. The vast majority do this when they land section-level positions to begin their professions. They figure the huge dreams will happen later. Yet, the passage-level occupation transforms into a time of a profession, very much like that. Out of nowhere a splendid peered toward hopeful youngster gets secured in their position, potential blurring each year. Where it counts, we realize that this will generally be valid, however we stick to the possibility of our potential as a way of dealing with stress. On the off chance that we can clutch that believing that perhaps, quite possibly, things will by one way or another mystically improve all alone, we can adapt to the gradually crawling reality that they will not. Change happens when you can see the future plainly. It happens when you get that, on the off chance that you don't take care of your circumstance, soon, you're bound to go any place the breezes of situation push you. At the point when I was 25 years of age, I understood that I had a day-to-day existence loaded with dreary work, misery, and calm franticness in front of me on the off chance that I didn't roll out some exceptional improvements. Didn't make any difference how brilliant I was or how much potential I had. I expected to take actions. What's more, I made them. So can you. You stop lying to yourself. Our capacity to deceive ourselves and justify our circumstances is unmatched. Once more, this returns to adapting. You disclose to yourself deceives hold yourself from absolutely separating. Reality harms. Reality that, maybe, you're in the circumstance you're in a direct result of you, harms the most. It damages to realize that you could be doing X, Y, or Z with your life yet you're the primary snag to getting what you need. It damages to realize that you could have better results in your day-to-day existence in the event that you just worked harder, or more brilliant. Eventually, it damages to go to the acknowledgement that you're not carrying on with the existence you need essentially in light of the fact that you're choosing not to do the things needed to change. Along these lines, you reveal to yourself a lot of helpful misleads. Try not to confront reality. You fault society. Indeed, society doesn't need you to succeed. I composed a whole section about that reality in my book. However, so what? Despite the fact that society is manipulated against the achievement of the individual, you can in any case get away from the machine on the off chance that you choose to. It's simply hard and you would prefer not to do it. On the off chance that you can concede that, perhaps you have an opportunity to change. You can fault your childhood, your folks, the climate you experienced childhood in. Indeed, genuinely, these variables affect your prosperity. However, over a long sufficient time frame, you can grow out of your childhood and the climate you came from. You can disclose to yourself a negative story and it very well may be consistent with a degree. In any case, your story isn't so remarkably terrible that you're looted of all office and moral duty. That is simply the greatest untruth we tell, that there's literally nothing we can do. That we're trapped, ordained, destiny fixed. I don't have any acquaintance with you. In any case, I do realize that, since you're an individual, you lie to yourself. You'll never fix this forever, however on the off chance that you quit revealing to yourself these huge, long-haul, overall lies about your life, you can acknowledge reality and change. You stop holding on to sunk costs and crying over spilt milk. Have you at any point committed an error or a mistake so terrible you're simply stuck considering everything? Totally frozen. You simply fixate on and over again about what could have happened versus what really occurred. You realize that this ruminating sits idle, however you feel constrained to do it. During these minutes, it's difficult to turn on the grounds that your feelings can simply assume responsibility for you. Possibly you can't completely free yourself of disappointment, yet once it dies down, you need to allow it to go to where you can take better actions right now. No point in bringing this up again. Perhaps the least demanding mantra to see legitimately, however quite possibly the most troublesome ones to acknowledge inwardly. To get over previous slip-ups, laments, things you're embarrassed about doing, you need to make it up in your psyche that those practices don't need to characterize who you are presently and who you can be pushing ahead. I've done a lot of moronic things. I've been captured. I landed terminated from positions. I exited school. Along these lines, when I was 25 years of age, broke, and a sentenced criminal, I had two options. Sit around idly wishing I hadn't wrecked so awful or start from where I was. I picked the last mentioned. You need to manage your slip-ups and you need to manage the heaviness of your past that impacts your present choices. Once in a while throughout everyday life, you simply need to cut trap. What's more, it's hard. It's hard a result of our relationship to sunk expenses. Sunk expenses are those costs that are past recuperation the second a choice is made. The measure of time, cash, or energy you spend doing X doesn't mean you need to continue to do it. What number of individuals are stuck in relationships since they've been in them for quite a long time? What number of individuals will not relinquish a profession they detest on the grounds that they've developed some status and distinction? What are you expressly clutching that no longer serves you? I realize it's difficult to acknowledge. In any case, no point in bringing this up again. You either proceed onward from it or let it keep on having a significant impact over your life. Those are your lone two decisions. You stop thinking you have all the answers. Frequently, we convey this bizarre feeling of smarty pants energy despite the fact that we don't have the outcomes we need throughout everyday life. We attempt to radiate the feeling that we have everything sorted out, when, obviously we don't, based on the outcomes we've been getting. On the off chance that you need to transform you may need to quit believing you're above attempting to find support. You need to quit imagining that your schooling halted in school. You have more to learn and more to do. Getting help could mean many things. You may have to see a specialist. Getting a tutor or a mentor has served me well basically every time I've utilized one. At the point when I needed to compose a book, I took a seminar on composition and distributing books. At the point when I needed to turn into a well-known blogger, I took a contributing to a blog course. I actually have mentors, coaches, and aides for basically every aspect of my life. The more I learn, the more I understand I don't have the foggiest idea about all that amount. Additionally, I don't attempt to sort out everything all alone. I understand there are alternate routes. I can look for direction from individuals who've effectively done what I needed to do. Ask yourself, in the event that you realize how to carry on with a superior life and get what you need, for what reason would you say you aren't doing it? In the event that you knew so well how to deal with your life all alone, for what reason isn't your life going the manner in which you need it to? I'm not urging you to spend a dime. There are a lot of assets you can use to improve your life, remembering free data for the web. The point here? Humble yourself. Until you come from a position of lowliness and readiness to learn, you're continually going to be left with an attitude that will hold you back from getting what you need. These focuses have been about lowliness. Lowliness frequently comes from coming clean with yourself about your circumstance as it at present stands and seeing where you can go from that point. You stop telling yourself, at last. At the point when you're at long last prepared to completely change you quit pausing. So significant, isn't that so? However, it's actual. I recollect the day I quit pausing. I settled on a choice that I planned to transform me, and I began evolving it. There was at the very beginning, at that point a day 2, at that point a day 3. Before you know it, I've gathered 7 days of speed. When force kicks in, the time passes by a lot quicker. It's been in excess of a half-decade since I settled on a firm choice to change. Also, it sincerely doesn't feel like I did the entirety of that work, yet I did. The time just passed by. I got into a score, and afterward I began to depend on propensities and control as opposed to having to continually propel myself. Presently, I have numerous profitable propensities woven into the texture of my being. This is the manner by which the cycle works. There must be the very first moment. Also, there must be a streak. When you get the streak moving, you fabricate an establishment that makes it simpler to proceed. However, you need to quit imagining that some external power will constrain you to change. You need to change your relationship with time. Nowadays, I'm so intensely mindful of time that it really bugs me a considerable amount in the event that I squander a solitary day. On the off chance that a few hours pass by where I'm not experiencing the manner in which I need to live, I can feel it in an instinctive way. You don't have to live like that, however it's critical to begin to notice time sneaking away as it sneaks away. You get more seasoned each day. You're nearer to your passing each and every day. You don't have the foggiest idea what occasions lie in front of you that will make it harder to achieve your objectives. Perhaps you have plentiful time, possibly not. Who can say for sure? Rather than battling the vulnerability of your future and stowing away from your inescapable demise, use them for your potential benefit. As inspiration sources. As fuel. Continue ahead with it. Clock's ticking.